for this speaker, God, that you would touch our hearts, God, and bless our hearts to be open to hear your word. And I pray over the rest of our days for any stresses, for any quizzes, God, I pray that you would just ease that. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Well, guys, good morning. How are you guys? Good. Well, it's fun being here today. My name is Chris, and I work right down the street at River Road Church. And so I see a lot of familiar faces already. I see Blaine, I see Jackson, I see Caleb, I see Parker, I see Luke. Like, this is fun. Like, seeing you guys in your element excites me for so many reasons. But today, I am not a pastor, I'm not a minister, I am here just as a friend. I'm here as a friend who gets to share part of his story with you guys in hopes that it points you towards Jesus. Because that's why I do what I do, that's why your teachers do what they do, that's why we are all here. And so this morning, as you get to know me a little bit, I want to show you a couple of pictures that are going to share a little bit about my life and what I care about and what I love to do. But I don't share these pictures with you to tell you that I've been to some really cool places or how cool I am. I show you these pictures to really show you like how great I failed. And so there's some messages here that I have for you today that like I really screwed up. And thankfully I've had some friends to help me realize where I screwed up along the way. But I have. Over the last couple of years, I've had the opportunity to travel a great deal. And so this first picture that I'll show you is the base camp of Mount Everest. This is in Nepal. 3 years ago, I was in Southeast Asia, traveling through China, and had the opportunity to go west and head into Nepal and go to Kathmandu and head to the base camp. And what's crazy about this picture is that you sit at 17,000 feet. You are higher than any point that we have in the United States, and you are looking down and you're like, oh, how is this real? And then you look up and you're like, oh, how is this real? Because like you're sitting at 17,000 feet, and the point that you see at the very top there is almost 30,000 feet. And people summit this. It's crazy. This next picture that I want to show you is my favorite island in the entire world, and it's a tiny little Tahitian island called Bora Bora. Maybe you've heard of Bora Bora, maybe you haven't, but it is as dreamy as The Bachelor and The Bachelorette make it seem. It is that magical. I mean, seriously, I've never seen bluer water in my entire life. It's an amazing, amazing part of the country, or part of the world. The next picture is a place called Zhangjiajie. Can you try and say that? Zhangjiajie. All right, I'll try and say it 5 times fast. Zhangjiajie, Zhangjiajie, Zhangjiajie. Exactly. You can make a song out of that beat. Like, it doesn't stop. But this may look familiar to you because Zhangjiajie is a place in south central China, and it's China's first national park. But it's where they filmed the movie Avatar. And so it's an incredible place, and if you were to look it up on Google, you can look up the Hallelujah Mountains or the floating mountains of China, and you can find what this looks like. But you show the next picture as well. This is the floating mountains. So it is one of these places you're like, man, I am blown away by just the creation, what this looks like. It's truly spectacular. And this last picture is a picture that means more to me than any of these other pictures. This is a picture to me that takes me home. This is a picture that is in Seattle, Washington. This is Mount Rainier National Park. And I used to live in Seattle, and forever, the rest of my life, Seattle will be home. And this picture to me is a place that I look back and I'm like, man, I remember the temperature. I remember freezing my toes off that night camping. I remember like the people I was with and the things that we did that week. But I value this picture because it takes me back to family. The people that I have in Seattle spoke so much truth into my life that would truly change my life forever. They spoke identity into me. They spoke who Christ was and who He made me to be. And I show you these pictures not to tell you how great I am, because I can care less about that. I show you these because for a season of my life, I tried to use photography to really be somebody, to try and be somebody special. Because the reality is that we live in a technologically driven world, driven society. I don't have to convince you guys of that. You guys live it every single day. We are scrolling through our phones, through Instagram, through Snapchat, whatever it may be, we scroll. And for a season of my life, I was surrounded by other really, really talented creatives. Some people that were doing some really big things with their photography, with videography, with traveling the world, getting gigs left and right. And I'm caught up in all of that. And I'm like, man, I'm nobody. Like, how do I get this following? So part of me, like, selfishly, and it's a humiliating, kind of humbling story. Like, I wanted to be some sort of influencer. I wanted to be this big hotshot who could get these gigs and just get rid of the 9 to 5 and go travel for the rest of his life, taking pictures. People do it, and it's like, Sure, but I never told anybody that. I was like, that's so shallow and superficial that I'd never want to share that with anybody. But if you were to look at my Instagram, it would tell you a different story. It would tell you that, man, I do have this perfect life. Man, I am traveling all the time. Man, I'm always on the go, one after the next. And so after a long trip, I had just come back to Seattle and I had some friends who just kind of got me on the couch and I'm like, Chris, what are you doing? Chris, who are you trying to be? Why are you trying to do this? We love you for who you are, not for who you're not. So just remember that. Because once again, we live in a technologically driven world, and if we're not careful, we can try and be somebody that we're not. And that's who I found myself trying to be, and that's what I got caught up in. And as I want you to think about this, I want you to think about your own life, because we live in a world where social media matters, for better or for worse, right? But just be honest with yourself, we care about our virtual friends, we care about our followers, we care about our likes. You guys care about the number of TikTok views that you get. You care about the number of YouTube subscribers that you have. That's just the world that we live in. There's no, that's it. I get it. I live in it just with you guys. So it's not just a you thing, it's a us. I understand that. And it's a powerful, powerful tool. I love technology. I'm an advocate of technology. And it's cool that we can be content creators. We can create something that has an impact, that has an influence all over the world. And we have no idea where it'll end up. But people in Asia and South America and Africa and Europe can follow your life in Chesapeake, Virginia as a track star. Why? I don't know. They just want to care. They want to follow it. It's just one of those things that you don't know what kind of influence that you may have. And it's cool that we can all be a part of this. But the same is true for those of influence. Those who do have significant influence, their message has meaning. Their message has power. Whatever they're saying, people buy into it. People believe it. And whether it's true or not, some people are willing to defend it just based on the person who said it. So if Kim Kardashian says something that's just stupid, you got people that'll believe it because Kim Kardashian said it, right? That's the world that we live in. And so I want us to think about this idea of insta-theology. Insta-theology. And so I want to ask you a few phrases. I want you to raise your hand if you've heard these before. Or maybe you've been told them before. But go live your dreams. Go live your passions. Follow your heart. You've never been told that before. Okay, I guarantee you all of us have in one way or another, and so all hands could be raised. But our society feeds this. We're told constantly, hey, you're young. You can do whatever you want. Go follow your dreams. And I just want to ask you this morning, is that good advice? Is it? I'm not here to tell you it's not. I just want to ask yourself, is that good advice? Because I want you to think about this. We're saturated in this messaging. Instagram feeds it, Snapchat feeds it, celebrities feed it. I guarantee you that where are our seniors? Our seniors all are right here? Okay. Whoever your class president is, your valedictorian, your salutatorian, whoever will give your graduation speech in May, June, I promise you this kind of messaging will be in one of your messages or one of your speeches. Because you're going to say, hey, this chapter of our lives is ended. We're off to bigger and better things. We're going to go study what we want to study to become the kind of person that we want to become. The world is your oyster kind of messaging. We buy into that. And honestly, we kind of like it. We kind of like believing that we can do whatever and however, whenever we want. And I'm not to say that's not wrong. I'm just saying we are saturated in it. And just this past week, these kind of messages came across my feed. Follow your dreams and the universe will open for you. I'm like, yeah, I like that. I like the universe will open for me. I can get down with that. The other one, follow your dreams and they know the way. Third one said, sometimes life is about risking everything for a dream, even if no one can see it but you. And I'm like, yeah. See, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm thinking not everyone gets me. Not everyone understands my dreams and my passions. And so if I can just do what I want to do and they don't get it, that's okay. Forget them. I can buy into that. Oprah says, man, live the life of your dreams. Oprah says it. We know it's true, right? Walt Disney, the man who created the happiest place in America, says, you can dream it, you can do it. And I said, well, okay, Tinkerbell. That's easier said than done. Steve Jobs, have the courage to follow your heart. These are the messages that we're told day in, day out. This is my favorite. There's this one guy who said, man, I really am just dreaming about some tacos. So what did he do? He just went and got some tacos. And this is the man who's living his dreams. That's a message I can get behind. That is something I can support. Go and live your dream and get yourself a taco. But some of these need to have us think twice about. Because if we're not careful, we will so easily fall into this insta theology, this wishy-washy soundbite theology that doesn't really take us anywhere. that has no real meaning. We can be so quick to jump from one sound good, feel good message that blows with the wind, that leaves us super shallow in anything true and anything real. And so today I just want you to know that we don't need Insta theology. We don't need these messages. What we need is some real theology. And it's not just those who don't go to a Christian school or those who don't go to a church or anything like that. It's all of us. We need some real theology. And so this is what I want all of us to hear today, is that we need real theology, and that real theology is that there is a God. And He's really here. He really loves you, and He really wants what's best for you. And that's not just some charismatic, feel-good message. That's just true. There is a God. He's really here. He really loves you, and He really wants what's best for you, for your life. And He's come to set you free. Like, that's the honest truth. He's come to set you free because there's a way that seems right unto man, unto you and me, but in the end it leads to death. Because we all have an idea of what we want our life to look like. But without God, it leads to death over and over and over again. And so that's what He's come to set us free from. So I want you to listen to this quote from Brad Pitt. If you don't know who Brad Pitt is, he's a famous Hollywood movie actor. He's seriously super, super talented. Had all the fame, the success you can even imagine. But this is what he says about it. He says, "Man, I know all these things are supposed to seem important to us. The car, the condo, our version of success. But if that's the case, then why is the general feeling out there reflecting more impotence and isolation and desperation and loneliness? If you ask me, I say toss it all. Man, we got to find something else. Because all I know is that at this point in time, we're heading for a dead end, a numbing of the soul, a complete atrophy of our spiritual being, and I don't want any of that." And this is coming from a guy who we don't know we don't know that he's a Christian. I would say he's probably not, just based off a judgment call. But this is a man who's literally had all the money, all the fame, all the women, all the success that our world says that we should live up to. And he's saying, man, if this is all that it gives me in life, I want nothing. I want nothing of it. Let's just toss it. Because what is happening is he's putting his head on his pillow just like the guy who doesn't have anything. And he's still asking the same question. What is it all about? What is my purpose? What is the reason for all of this? And the crazy part about this is someone like Brad has a significant influence. Millions and millions of followers and impacts all around the world and whatever. But we are so quick to believe the quick snapshot pictures and the messages that they send to people like Brad to say, hey, life's good. Life's all this picture perfect thing, and it's all about the money. And what Brad is saying is man, it's not. And so we're quick to listen to this message of life's good, but then when he say, hey, life's not all that it's cracked up to be. All of this didn't fulfill me like I thought it would. We don't like that message as much, and so we don't believe it. We're like, man, you just didn't do it right. If it were me, I would live it better. I would still find more fulfillment in that. And so we chase after those things. We compare ourselves to others so that we can possibly have that for ourselves. And so in this world where our society tells us, hey, go live your dream, I know for us, we can get so easily caught up in comparisons. So often we get caught up in looking at someone else's, comparing our lives to someone else, and we look at our behind the scenes, our every Wednesday mundane chapel service, to someone else's highlight reel saying they have the life, they're living it up. Why can't my life look more like that? And we just get so empty. We feel so discontent. We feel so alone and so messed up because our life doesn't look like other people's. And this is what the Bible has to say about this, because it does speak on this topic. John 10:10 says, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And I come that you may have life and have it abundantly." See, Satan wants nothing more than to steal your joy. To steal your life, to keep you in a place of comparisons, to keep you in a place of my life's not good enough, to make you feel inadequate, to make you feel unlovable. He loves that you struggle with depression and anxiety and loneliness. He feeds off of that. But the real theology that we're talking about today is what Jesus says is, I have come to give you life and give it abundantly. And that's something we can hold on to. That is a truth. That is an absolute. That's something that we can trust with our entire lives. And so in a world in our culture where society tells us to be fed with these shallow truths, what I want you to know today is that Christ has come for so much more. And so I said it earlier, but Christ has come to save us, right? To set us free. And He's come to set us free from those judgments, from the comparisons, from the depression and anxiety. He's come to give you life. And so this morning I just want to ask you, where are you finding your hope? Are you finding your hope in this wishy-washy, insta theology that you keep scrolling through hoping that something sticks? Or are you finding your hope in in something that's rooted in who Christ has made you to be. And that's something that's for all of us, not just some of you guys today. Where are you finding your hope? Because I'm going to end it right here. It's a short and sweet message today, but I'm going to end it with a message from one of the major philosophers of our day. Are you ready? It's the philosopher Justin Bieber. Okay, this is what Justin has to say about this. He says, it's hard to get out of bed in the morning with the right attitude when you're overwhelmed with your life, your past, your jobs, responsibilities, emotions, your family, finances, your relationships. When it feels like there's trouble after trouble after trouble, you start foreseeing a day through the lens of dread and anticipate another bad day. A cycle of feeling disappointment after disappointment. And sometimes it can even get to the point where you don't even want to live anymore. Where you feel like it's never going to change. And I can fully sympathize with you. Justin says he can sympathize with you. I couldn't change my mindset. And I'm fortunate to have people in my life who continue to encourage me to keep going. You see, I have a lot of money. I have the cars, the clothes, the accolades, the achievements, the awards. And I was unfulfilled. Have you noticed the statistics of child stars and the outcome of their life? There's an insane pressure and responsibility put on a child whose brain and emotions and frontal lobes aren't yet developed. No rationality, they're defiant and rebellious, and things all of us have to go through. I lost my place. Still lost it. You see, I didn't grow up in a stable home. My parents were 18, with no money, separated, and still living a rebellious life. My talent progressed and I became ultra successful, and it happened within a strand of 2 years. My whole world was flipped on its head. I went from being a 13-year-old boy in a small town from Canada to being praised left and right by the world, with millions saying how much they loved me and how great I was. And I don't know about you, but humility comes with age. You hear these things enough as a young boy and you actually start believing it. Rationality comes with age, and so does your decision-making process, and it's one of the reasons you shouldn't drink until you're 21. Everyone did everything for me, and so I never learned the fundamentals or responsibility. And so by this point, I was 18 with no skill sets in the real world, with millions of dollars and access to whatever I wanted. This is a scary concept for anyone. But by 20, I made every wrong decision that you could ever think of, and went from being one of the most loved and adored people in the world to one of the most ridiculed, judged, and hated people in the world. You see, being on stage, according to studies, is a bigger dopamine rush than almost any other activity. And so these massive ups and downs on their very own are very hard to manage. And so you notice a lot of touring bands and people will end up having a phase of drug abuse. And I believe it's due to not being able to manage these huge ups and downs. I started doing pretty heavy drugs at 19 and abused all my relationships. I became resentful and disrespectful to women and angry. I became distant to everyone who loved me and was hiding behind a shell of a person that I had become. I felt like I could never turn it around, and it's taken me years to bounce back from all of these terrible decisions, to fix these broken relationships, and to change relationship habits. But luckily, God blessed me with extraordinary people who love me for me. And now I'm navigating the best season of my life, which is marriage, which is an amazing, crazy new season of responsibility. You learn patience, trust, commitment, kindness, humility, and all the things that it looks like to be a good man. All this to say that even when the odds are against you, keep fighting. Jesus loves you. Be kind today, be bold today, love people today. And not by your standards, but by God's perfect, unfailing love. Like, that's a message of hope. That is a message from someone who has significant influence. I mean, Justin has over like 15 million people on Instagram who follow him. And he posted that story, those words, to Instagram just a month ago. And he shared that about his life, saying, hey, my life's not perfect. I know amongst our world that it looks like I'm a young superstar from the age of 13 to 26. I've had everything you can imagine. And it has left me empty with regret after regret after regret. And so we idolize, like literally we look to these people and say, why can't my life be like that? I mean, I want that in my life. And we get caught up in these comparisons and we forget that they live the same life that we do. They may have a little more money than we do. They may have nicer cars than we do. But it's not about the comparisons. And this is what Justin says, that when I found Christ, like there is hope. That's what it says, like Jesus loves you. Be kind today, be perfect, be bold today, and love people today. Not by your standards, but by God's perfect, unfailing love. And when you can grab hold of that, like, that is true. That is biblical. That is like theology in itself. And so it's incredible that he saw that all of that is meaningless without Christ. And so that's what I want you to think of today, is that Christ comes to give us life. And he comes to give it abundantly. And are you living an abundant life? Are you living your life filled with Christ's joy and love that he has for you? Or are you caught up in just scrolling your feeds of like, man, my life is not enough? Because we spend hours and hours a week on social media watching YouTube clips that have nothing meaningful to our lives. We do. I do it too. So I understand it. But in that, I just want to encourage you to know that God made you to be you, not to be somebody else. Luke, he made you to be you, not Parker. Parker, he made you to be you, not Tyler. That's the reality. God made you and he says, you are good. He made me and says, you are good. And that is enough. That is okay. And so let's end with the comparisons. I think this is the biggest issue. We know a lot. But until we make that connection with what we believe, then we will struggle with this mindset and this mentality that I'm inadequate, that my life sucks, that I want my life to be more like this and less like this. God has made you to be you, and so that is the truth that we can hold on today. And so I just want you to think about this thought, and I'm going to pray out, and the band will come up and close out. But I just want you to think of this, where are you finding your hope? Is it in this Instagram wishy-washy theology that goes with the sound of the flow of the wind? Or is it something true, something real, something you can hold on to that we have right here? And so think about that for yourself. Father God, thank you for it this morning. Thank you for these guys and these girls, God, for their love for you, for their desire to learn what is true. And I just pray that in this season of life where the world tells us so many messages, God, we're told so many things that aren't true, and yet we're told that we need to believe it because everyone around us is believing it. That we need to do these certain things, that we need to live up to these standards and expectations because that's what people expect of us. And I just pray, God, that you'll set us free from that, because you say you've come to set us free, and that you've come to give us life and give it abundantly. And so I just pray that we will find that this morning, that we will hold on to that truth and that theology that you do have a great life for us. God, and I just pray that as we go about living our dreams, that you give us dreams so that we do get to live an extraordinary life. And I pray that we will continue to live into those dreams, walking alongside you and seeing where you take us. God, it's an incredible opportunity to go and live the dream. I just pray that we will do that today as we hold on to the truth of who you've made us to be. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
all of us being here, God, and I pray that all of us would think about this message the whole day, God, and that you would walk with us side by side. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.